Why are Catholic moms so mean to themselves in their minds? I'm Sterling Jakewith. I have 6 kids and I teach moms how to have more interior peace. Let's get into it. I pulled out the big guns today, okay? I feel like I need you to really pay attention to me. And when I wear this crown, everyone takes me more seriously, okay? I will put a link below to this crown because every time I wear it, all the moms are like, oh, I need that. It's like $15 and it will make you feel like $1,000,000 and your kids will love it. Anything you do with this crown, everyone just is a little bit more smiley about. So, secret mom hack, pull out the crown. It'll make you feel better. It'll make everybody else feel a little silly and it's a good time. But we're being serious today, okay? The way that you talk to yourself in your mind is garbage. It is ridiculous. It is embarrassing. If you heard your kid talking to themselves the way that you talk to you, you'd be like, whoa. It would be a problem. You would sit them down and you would be like, listen, you may not talk about yourself like that. You may not talk to yourself like that. If you heard your kid talking to a different person the way that you talk to yourself, it would be a red flag situation. Okay? And how do I know? Because you're a human and you just grew up in modern day, probably America, but maybe somewhere else. And we have been taught, especially as women, to just like not like ourselves, to be down on ourselves, and then throw in that you're the oldest child or the middle child or the youngest child or the lost child in a large family. Like there's all these kind of jackets that we wear that contribute to the particular flavor of not niceness that we talk to ourselves. Okay? Now, the first thing I want to say is this isn't your fault. I do not want you spending a ton of time beating yourself up and feeling bad about the decades that you have been so mean to yourself. It's not your fault. Okay? It's just programming. If we were to go back and watch the movie of your life and see the way that people talk to you, your parents, your teachers, television, lyrics in radio songs, magazines, right? Like if we were to catalog all that stuff, the messages that you received were really messed up, probably. Okay? And then you're just perpetuating them because it's what you were taught. And you may be today years old learning, I am perpetuating that. And none of those things are true. And I can stop saying them. No one can stop you from speaking to yourself kindly in your mind. And in fact, you must. You must. Okay? So, the other thing I want you to know is that biologically, your brain's main charter is to keep you alive. Okay? It's like a computer and it's like, mission number 1, keep you alive. So, right now, quite successfully, with the garbage way that you've been speaking to yourself, your brain has completed its mission of keeping you alive. It's like, hey, if she really doesn't like herself and she takes less risk, she stays alive, and that's what we want. Okay? It totally works. It totally works on a biological level, and that's why you're doing it. Right? So your brain is reinforced by giving you tough love and getting you to not take risks and not go into uncomfortable situations and to keep you safe, whatever it perceives as keeping you safe. Okay? And then you're still alive. So it's like, wee, I win. I am the winner. She is still alive. Okay? Also, not your fault, right? It's not your fault that you have biological programming that for like 10,000 years, the brain was so hyper focused on keeping you alive because there were so many external threats in our environment. And it's been such a tiny sliver of time that we're not dying because of plague and starvation and tribal wars. Like just like a boop compared to the history of time. So the brain is just like catching up still on the fact that we have grocery stores, right? And because it hasn't caught up to the fact that we have air conditioning and grocery stores and you're probably not going to be killed, from a warring tribe on Wednesday, it has turned all the rest of the things in your life into like really big threats. And then it's like screaming at you with military tough love to try to keep you safe. But it's just misfiring all over the place. It's misfiring on what the threats are, and it's misfiring on what you need to hear in order to have a healthy life. And that's because it doesn't care if you have a healthy life, right? It doesn't care if you have friendships or love. It doesn't care about your soul. All it cares about, your computer brain, is to keep you alive. And it's done that. And you can do that by being really mean to yourself. And that's where I want to like grab your little face and say, I love you so much. And the Lord loves you so much. And he does not want you spending 20 more years being mean to yourself in your mind. You're going to live, Lord willing, the next 20 years anyway, right? We're going to live anyway. And you could either hear it with like, most of you probably don't know what Metallica sounds like, but like just imagine like really sharp Metallica, grunge rock, screechy music. And I'm like, hey, you're going to live the rest of your life, but you just have to hear Metallica in the background the whole time. Okay. Maybe another example would be like 50 10-year-olds learning how to play orchestra instruments. And I'm just recording that. And then that's the soundtrack of your life. You're going to live the next 20 years anyway, but that's the soundtrack. And it's screechy and terrible. Okay. That was a good analogy. Or you can be a loving personal assistant. You can be the best athletic coach. You could be the most gentle spiritual guide, like a spiritual director. You could have a voice like Mary. And that's your soundtrack. And we're going to live anyway. But in your mind is this beautiful chorus, like the Benedictine nuns singing beautiful hymns. They have a bunch of CDs on Spotify. I will link one of them below. Okay, I'm going to forget that. Let me just make a note. Benedictine nuns. So good. We love those CDs. Okay, beautiful music like that while you're living your life. It's up to you. You get to choose. No one controls the thoughts in your brains. Now, I did mention spiritual attacks in the beginning. I do believe for sure in demons and spiritual attacks. And I do think that they can like whisper things, right? But we're the ones who then like take those thoughts, those lies, we plant them in the garden of our minds and then we water them. I'm a bad mom. I'm screwing up the kids. God doesn't really love me. God isn't good, or he wouldn't let this be happening to me, right? Like they might whisper it, but you're the one who waters it. And so that's what I want to help you see, is that you have control over what you think in your mind. You may not have control over the first thought. Okay. But once you catch it, once you start watching your thoughts more, and you are the watcher of your thoughts. Okay. Then you can go, oh, that's not true. Brain, that's silly. There's no tigers here. We're not going to die. I love you. We're going to be totally fine. We're going to have a great day. One thought that I really love is I have a luxurious amount of time. I don't tell myself that I don't have enough time. I don't like that thought. It makes me feel like tight. I'll probably do a video on time at some point. I haven't yet, but it's coming. But I just tell myself I have a luxurious amount of time. And then it feels like I do. It's the most amazing thing. And I have a very full life, you guys. It is packed. Okay. But I just don't tell myself that I have to feel rushed or stressed. I just talk to myself so gently while I do it. So I want to sell you on this idea, okay, that you get to choose the soundtrack of your life. You're going to live it regardless. The days are going to tick by. And you can either be nice to yourself, or you can be mean to yourself and beat yourself up and have that military, like, who do you think you are? Get it together. Why aren't you just working harder? Like, can't you just... And I don't even care why. Okay? I could probably roll around in your childhood and figure it out pretty quickly. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you as an adult go, oh, I don't want to live like that anymore. And then it will take some work because your brain is practiced, right? The neural pathways in your brain are practiced going down the self-deprecating, don't like myself track. Okay. So you will have to get your brain to do something else. And it's like, but we always want to tell ourselves how tired and old we look when we look in the mirror. And you're like, oh, we're not doing that anymore. Now we're going to look at ourselves and go, oh, you're so beautiful. And I love the color of your eyes. Okay. I'm going to do a video on loving the way that you look in the mirror. It's a totally different thing, but we got to have that conversation too. But that's just one of the thoughts that's part of this overall soundtrack. And I want you to know that you can significantly improve the experience of your own life if nothing changes. We have the same house, the same husband, the same kids, the same bank account number. Okay? All that is the same. But the way that you talk to yourself about it is so much more gentle and lovely and encouraging. And then your experience of those things is better. Okay? If that sounds amazing to you, I want you to come check out my 6-week challenge for moms. Okay? Mary's Heart, Martha's Order. We're teaching you to be a little bit more Mary and then clean up some of the Martha stuff. Okay? Because we want both. Moms want both. Okay? But I'm going to teach you this, which is basically a whole bunch of different things to think so that the soundtrack of your life is better. And when you do this, you're going to feel, I'm not lying, you're going to feel like you get 2 hours of your day back. Because right now you're kind of wasting 2 hours a day being stressed and not liking yourself. And that leaks out so much of your energy. And so you're more tired than you need to be. Okay. But it's because you're like being so mean to yourself and carrying around the weight of things that you shouldn't be carrying around. Okay. I have lots of videos of that. And instead, I just want you to like believe that God loves you, that he's made you for a purpose, that he doesn't give you desires that you're not going to fulfill, which is such an amazing thing, and that he doesn't want you speaking to yourself the way that you are. And when we begin to speak to ourselves in a kind and loving and encouraging way, our life starts to get so much better. And it takes me 6 weeks. I've done this for many years, and we like really distilled it down to the necessary things, and you can learn them over 6 weeks, and it's going to totally change your life. Just go read the reviews. I've done it. Thousands of women totally changed their life. Okay. Check out CatholicMomCom.com and go sign up for our 6-week Mary's Heart, Martha's Order challenge if you want more interior peace and you want to change the soundtrack that's in your mind. All right. Please pray for me. I'm praying for you. Have a blessed day.